In the dead stillness of a Russian winter night, the kind that cloaks the world in silence, so profound it seems otherworldly, 9 souls ventured into the eternal white. They were young, vibrant, and full of laughter, their lives a warm ember against the icy void of the Ural mountains. But none could foresee the unspeakable horror that awaited them, nor the chilling legacy their footsteps would leave behind. Their story begins not with life, but with death. A search party, desperate, trembling, found their campsite weeks later. What they uncovered defied logic, a tableau of madness scrawled across the frozen wilderness. The tent, their supposed refuge, was torn open from the inside, its fabric flapping in the bitter wind. Snow, like the hand of an unseen specter, had begun to erase their traces. But what remained was ghastly. The bodies lay scattered, as if fleeing something too terrifying to describe. Some were barefoot, their clothing in disarray, as though they had fled in blind panic. The snow, stained crimson in places, bore silent witness to a struggle that could not be named. Yet it was their injuries that truly unraveled the threads of reason. Fractured skulls, shattered ribs, and internal damage so severe it suggested the force of a car crash. And yet, no wounds marred their skin. One of the victims, her head tilted back as though in a final scream, clutched fragments of fabric torn from her own jacket. Her hands, frozen stiff, bore signs of desperate violence. Against what? Against whom? The answer lies hidden, buried beneath the layers of frost and time. And then, the investigators found it. Traces of radiation on their clothing. A poison that whispered of secrets buried deep in the heart of Soviet silence. What were these 9 hikers, dreamers of adventure, unwittingly exposed to? Were they caught in the crossfire of experiments never meant to be revealed? Theories, like the mountain winds, swirled. An avalanche, they said. But why would experienced mountaineers, accustomed to nature's wrath, tear their way out of their only shelter? A secret military test, some posited. Yet the officials offered no such confession. Alien encounters, murmured others. For how else could one explain the otherworldly terror etched into their final moments? But it is not merely the mystery of their deaths that chills the soul. It is the echoes they left behind. The Dyatlov Pass itself is an unyielding witness, shrouded in snow and shadow. Travelers who dare venture there today recount stories of unease, a palpable dread that settles in the bones. Some describe hearing whispers in the wind, faint and mournful. Others report flickers of light in the darkness, strange and unearthly, as though the mountain itself remembers what transpired. Local legends have sprung up, weaving tales of vengeful spirits or ancient forces angered by trespassers. Some claim the mountain's name, Kolytsyakal, Dead Mountain, is no coincidence. Perhaps it was cursed long before those 9 hikers ever set foot there. One hiker's diary, recovered from the site, contained a final, chilling entry. "Now we know snowmen exist," it read. Was it a joke? A fragment of delirium brought on by the cold? Or was it a fleeting acknowledgement of something far darker? The investigators, faced with mounting pressure, eventually concluded their inquiry with vague, unsatisfying explanations. A compelling natural force, they called it, their words as cold and empty as the landscape. Yet questions lingered. Why were their injuries so severe? Why the radiation? Why the inexplicable look of terror frozen on their faces? Even the families of the victims found no solace. They were left with fragments, a torn tent, scraps of clothing, photographs taken in happier times, but no answers. Their loved ones had walked into the wilderness, full of life, and returned only as a haunting memory. And so, dear listener, the question remains: what force, what unspeakable horror lurks in that icy abyss, waiting to be discovered? Or perhaps it waits to claim its next victim. The Dyatlov Pass stands as a grim monument, A reminder that the earth keeps secrets darker than we dare to imagine. For some mysteries are meant to remain unsolved, and some horrors unseen. Listen closely to the howling winds, should you ever wander there, and pray they do not howl back. For the mountains are old, their silence deep, and their memories long. And in their shadows, fear lingers, waiting,